Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Finding the Middle. It is Sunday today. The episode releases, and it's also the day after Valentine's Day. So, for everybody who did something on Valentine's Day, I hope that you had fun, that it was cool. I myself, I was at work yesterday, but I did ended up doing something cool for Valentine's Day on Friday instead. I ended up going to Seattle to the escape game. It's called, I've never been to the escape game before. I didn't even know they had a location down in South Center Mall. So it's a really good experience for anybody who doesn't know what the escape game is. It's actually different themed escape rooms for you to, go with somebody and try to, escape. So it was very fun. I ended up doing the prison break. Super cool. It was fun because you just start off in two different cells, so you can't really see what the other person is seeing and they can't see what you're seeing. But you have to communicate, so you gotta like, hey, what do you see? What do I have this. And there's a bunch of locks that you have to do. There's a bunch of stuff in there. There's a book full of clues and stuff. And then the good thing about it was, like, whenever you actually felt like you were stuck on something, you can always press the clue button. So like that would be, they will give you a clue. So it was easier to manage more than what I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, it was a very fun experience. But anyways, guys, let's get into what we were gonna talk about today, which is video games. There was an announcement made this week that kind of made me thought about video games and how we see video games as adults, and how video games have somehow affected us in a positive way, like how they played a part in our growth. So let's jump right into it then. So I want you to think about for a second, like, what was the first game you ever played? Think about it. Like, what was the first game you ever got a chance of playing? What do you remember about it? What were some things that you liked about it? Some things that you didn't like about it? What was your first console? I want you to think about that for a second. And let's jump right into that. Because, like, for me, for example, it was Super Nintendo. And I ended up, my first game I ever played was Mario Kart, the original Mario Kart, and it was very fun to play. I ended up playing it with my sister a lot. Actually, the console was my sister's, so I ended up playing that a lot when I was younger. And also Super Mario World, I think it was the name, the first game where Yoshi appears. Super fun games. Those games were my introduction to what gaming was at a time. The other games that I ended up playing also were PlayStation 1 games, but I want you to think about it like just the first game in particular and how it holds up today. So if you have a Switch and you have the membership or whatever, you can play the Super Mario World game that I'm talking about. And I recently played it, and it was so fun. Also, by the way, the movie, I only found out that Joshi was going to be in the movie like probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I found out that Joshi was going to be in the movie, and the upcoming Mario Galaxy movie, by the way. And it was very charming, very interesting to see a character that I remember clearly playing as in the game. Like, you could get on top of Joshi and you can go around, and he'll like uh, use her like his tongue, and like he'll grab the other flying turtles or whatever, eat them, and like spit out the shells. It was very fun. It was a very fun game, and I remember it clearly. I feel like games in general kind of changed my perspective on other things, because also games were my introductions to many different things that I know right now. Like, the first time that I heard about Deadpool, and this is kind of like what we're talking about in the last video, but like the first time that I talked about that I saw Deadpool was in a video game, and it was in Ultimate Alliance. And we're gonna go back to Ultimate Alliance in a little bit, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that just like me love Ultimate Alliance, and you just wish that game would be playable here in the States. And unfortunately, unless you have like an emulator or something like that, you can't really play it in the States or get it downloaded or anything, unless you already had the copy, which that's another thing. But anyways, yeah. I go back to those moments where I played video games for the first time and they were so peaceful. I remember when the world or like the world around me was very much simple in a sense of like all I had to worry about was school and obviously getting home and beating that level that I couldn't beat back in the day, you know? And I want you to think about that because, like, many of these games over time, new consoles come out and as new consoles come out and the upgrades happen, some of these games kind of get forgotten and it's crazy to think about it because like now you want to have those games. It's kind of hard sometimes to get your hands on games that you used to play when you were young. So I want you to think about that. Let's analyze it. Let's see how we can like get a grasp of a little bit of our childhood, Because like that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. I know that us as adults, our lives change and sometimes we don't really get time to do most of the stuff that we would like to do. However, however, I would say that we're always in search of that childhood feeling that was just peaceful at the time. And that is something that is very important today. It's just trying to keep in touch with your childhood because at the end of the day we're all kids. We're still all kids. It's just we have different responsibilities, but we still like what we like. And keeping in touch with your inner child is the best thing. Because the way I think about it, it's like if I were to look at it from an outside perspective, I would love to see my younger self feeling happy that I am still in touch with the things that he currently likes in that moment in time. So that is something that I definitely look up to and I enjoy about myself is like, hey, how can I make it worth, this kid's time, because like I don't want him to just play the video games and hey, one day you're gonna forget about them. No, I want him to think about like, hey, I spent all this time in video games, it was not in vain, and now I get to keep in touch with video games as an adult. And I would say that knowing myself, probably me, if my younger self would get to see me, he would probably be like amazed and like, yeah, I play those games and look at all the games that you continue to play. And playing video games, among other things, is one of the ways that I keep in touch with childhood. And it's one of the best feelings that I currently have when it comes to spending time with myself. It's one of my favorite hobbies. And like I said before, we do have responsibilities, and sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to consistently play the stuff that we do. Like right now, if I were to play a video game, it's been over a month. So it'll probably take me a minute to kind of get into the groove of it and like be like, okay, yeah, let me get into the groove of it. But yeah, I want you to think about like your favorite game as a childhood and in when you were a kid. I want you to think your favorite game when you were a kid and leave it in the comments. Like, let me know what was your favorite game or what was your favorite, where your first console. Let me know what's your first console. What was your favorite game in that console? And share it with somebody. Maybe you can comment in somebody else's comment, and we can kind of build something in here. But yeah, that is definitely one of the major things as a kid. I remember that my first console that it was mine that they actually gave to me was probably the PlayStation 2. Because again, I am 27, so my sister already had the PS1 when I started playing the Super Nintendo. It's just that I was 4 years old, so it was easier back then to just let me play games like Mario instead of Resident Evil, which was a thing, and other games that were more not my age appropriate. I was four again. Not that games back in the day were like super gory like today's games, but there was a different standard back then in the early 2000s, and there was a standard also in my household. So I wasn't really allowed to play a bunch of games that other people were able to play. But yeah, my first console was the PlayStation 2. Yeah, and it was the slim edition. I never got the thicker one. My cousin had the thicker one, but like I had the slim edition, and I played so many games. And speaking of games, another thing that I want to talk about, we're going to move into something related to games back then. But like I mentioned earlier about chasing that feeling of childhood nostalgia, if you want to call it, like chasing that childhood memory or that childhood feeling that you used to have of like peace before. And one of the things that I currently do chase is getting to play a game that is action adventure, but it's more adventure than action. Because I remember how, and I was talking today with a buddy of mine. I remember how games used to be, hey, this is the final product. I'm going to give you a video game. It's complete. So there wasn't really online for most games, especially in that early, in those early days. So like you had to make the best out of the game. And when you enjoyed the game, what you would do is you just replay the game again. And a lot of the games that I'm talking about, like for example, Spyro, I used to love Spyro the Dragon because it had a lot of adventure wandering around. You gotta collect the diamonds, and then you also had to save the dragons, the eggs, because like I don't remember which game of Spyro it was. It might have been the second one, but it was basically somebody came into the dragon nest, the dragon village, whatever it was, and they stole a bunch of eggs. So you as Spyro had to go recover those eggs that were stolen. And every time you would recover an egg, the egg would hatch and you would see a new dragon that you had rescued and stuff like that. Every time that you would go into a different level or like a different scene, there is a bunch of diamonds that you had to collect. And I remember when it was so satisfying to go around just collecting stuff, even though you're in the same map. I'm not talking about open world. I'm talking about you being in the same map and going collecting coins, going collecting diamonds, go and collect every flavor beans if you played Harry Potter. Harry Potter was awesome. I remember Harry Potter so vividly. I'm getting goosebumps right now, but I remember Harry Potter so vividly in the back of my head. And it was just a simple game. It was a simple game. I mean, most games that were movie-based were super simple, probably garbage by today's standards, but they hold value, emotional, and, they just hold value to us, Like, I love Madagascar, the original game, and the Cars original game. That Cars game was fire. That Cars game was complete, just fire. It was amazing. It's amazing. It's same as Ultimate Alliance. I loved Ultimate Alliance. And don't even get me started with X-Men Legends. It was just great games that were being produced, and they just had this complete version of the game, and that's what you had. And it was so satisfying as a kid being able to purchase a game and not having to worry about DLCs and like, hey, I'm not getting the full experience of the game. Because at the end of the day, I had the copy. So I was getting the full, like, immersive story of the game. And you can call it nostalgia, you can call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, like if I were to give you an example, I didn't end up playing online gaming like multiplayer until I was in senior year. So that was what, 2016, 2017 that I ended up playing online because like in my household, we didn't have internet in the house. We had internet, but we didn't have like a router, like a proper internet connection. It was more like, hey, my dad had Wi-Fi going off of his Wi-Fi, but like the signal a hotspot. That's what it was. My dad had a hotspot on his phone and that thing was like 5 gigs. So I couldn't really play online unless I wanted to get yelled at by my dad because like I ended the thing. So I was whenever I purchased games, especially before that time, it was because I was interested in the campaign. And today, there's not enough of that. And I keep talking to people about this. It's like video games today, they are not the same as video games before. Games today are built to just to say an expression, just milk the cow until it doesn't want to milk anymore. Whereas games before were fully already kind of made, and you had the game completely there. Now you have to worry about DLCs, expansions, about microtransactions, anything to just keep getting money out of you. And it's crazy because you want to buy something and get that full experience. You don't want to, hey, I'm going to buy a game, get half of the experience, and then you're going to give me little bits of experience slowly, you know. And I don't have anything against that because I see why the companies make it. Internet kind of revolutionized gaming, what they could do with gaming. So I understand why companies, they opt to do that because you're gonna make money off of it. You're gonna use the internet. You're gonna get people to play your game constantly, and that is good for them. It's good business for them. I understand that completely. I am not looking at it from the business standpoint. I'm looking at more as the consumer itself. I'm looking at more as that person who kind of wants to play a video game that I can get the full experience by just buying it. I don't want to keep worrying about, I don't mind about like microtransactions in the terms of like, hey, get this cosmetics. Hey, you can get this, I don't mind that stuff. The thing that I mind is when I buy a game full price and then you give me DLCs and expansions, and then you got like 3 or 4 of them, and you're like, wow, like I have half a game now. I don't have the full thing. That is the thing that really bothers me about gaming today. And games before were, again, they were so nice, and probably it is nostalgia right now talking. It probably is. Or probably it's just me trying to get, it's just probably me just analyzing the truth, Let me see. Let me think about another game that I used to play when I was a kid and I loved it so much. Ratchet Deadlock. Ratchet Deadlock was amazing. I keep saying that Ratchet Deadlock is the original Hunger Games because, like, if you look at the game, if you were to look at Ratchet Deadlock for what it is, it's basically Ratchet and Clank and their group get put into these games that are transmitted on the internet. They're transmitted everywhere in the galaxy, and pretty much they gotta get through these levels and not die, because otherwise, if you die, you get eliminated and whatever. So as you're Ratchet, you're like leveling up to get this final boss, and then you're the last survivor of the tournament. So I can see why I see the resemblance between the regular, the regular Ratchet Deadlock and Hunger Games. I can see why that happens. So yeah, I want to, that's something that I've been talking about and mentioning, with some of my buddies, how like games today are much more, they're built in a way that companies don't necessarily mind about the consumer having the 100% best. That's part of it, obviously, but they are made in a way that we need to keep the consumer constantly playing the game, playing the game, and we need them not only to constantly play the game, but also keep them spending money. And that is a problem. That is a thing. Going back, like, look at it now. Look at this open worlds game, for example. I remember when open world was kind of small-ish with Grand Theft Auto or like Batman Arkham City. You look at that map, and you look at maps today like Assassin's Creed or Star Wars, whatever the bounty hunter one is. I forgot the name of the game. But like those maps are absolutely huge. And the Star Wars ones, for example, not only are they huge, there's also planets, and each planet has a humongous map. Sometimes it's just dead space. Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, great game, by the way. I love Assassin's Creed Shadows, especially for like this feudal Japan, and you see all the cherry blossoms, and you can see the 4 stations of the year. It looks stunning. But trust me, there's so much dead space in those maps. So much dead space. And it's crazy too, because some of them, even the places where it's crowded, but you can't interact, like, for example, with some of the houses. Like, not some of the, it's like if you can enter a building, it's probably because you have to do something at some point of the game in that building. There's a lot of buildings that you can't even get into. They're just there. And that is some of the stuff that also I kind of see in games, you know? Also, for us people who are working, games in general, when you talk about time spent in a game, we used to spend probably 7, 8 hours, 12 hours, probably like 15, 16 hours tops in a video game to get it to 100%. Nowadays, you spend 24 hours in a game and you have like 44% progression. I've seen games that have like the playthrough, the hours on it is like 60 hours, 70 hours, and it's just insane. It's crazy for people who like general adults to play those games, because, like, again, we have jobs, we have responsibilities, some of us have kids. It's, you know, it's, you want to sit down and enjoy the game, but you don't want to linger in the game too much that you're like, oh my God, I've spent at the end of the day a month in this game to get it to pass it completely. You know what I'm saying? That is something that can be stressful. And then, you know, you got to navigate your personal life with your hobbies and activities. That is just the reality of it. So yeah, that's why constantly I am continuously searching for that video game that will bring me this feeling of childhood nostalgia. Like, I'm currently doing that. I currently play games that are on the classic catalogs, like, for example, for the PlayStation ones, or even the ones that I can play on the Xbox. Just getting to play those games. I recently played Toy Story 2, which I used to play in the PlayStation 1. That's one of my favorite games. And you know what's crazy about it? Some of these games, I have never beaten them. And I play them now as an adult, and I'm like, wow, this was not bad at all. It's just that I could not understand what was happening. And also, I was not reading some of this stuff that was happening in the screen. I was just like, next. I want to play. Because you're just a kid. You just want to have that fun experience, you know? And nowadays, I continue to try to play video games with that same mentality of, hey, I want to have fun. I just don't want to get into comp and Marvel Rivals and just play myself until I get an aneurysm, you know, and like get into arguments with people, because that happens a lot today. Also, like, you're playing online, there's no respect, everybody's just cursing each other out, and playing a video game that was supposed to be this moment of you just relaxing and just having time for yourself becomes stressful, and you don't want it to become stressful. You don't want your playing hours to be fighting and stressing about some weird stuff that you shouldn't be stressing with people who you don't even know at the end of the day. All you want to do is have fun, play the video game, and just, you know, have a good time. But anyways, why am I talking about video games today? And it's mainly because of these. Last Thursday, I opened my social media and I saw this. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw this. God of War Trilogy Remake announcement teaser. I have not played the original God of War games because when God of War kind of started, I was either too young, or by the time that I was probably would be into God of War, I was getting into Halo because I had the Xbox. I didn't have the PlayStation. I ended up getting the PlayStation 3 almost before the 4 came out. So it was like that. So I never got to really play God of War. I saw a lot of my friends in school talking about God of War, and I don't know why they were playing this game because we were probably in middle school, and some of these games are M. So I don't know why they were playing this, but let's check this out. Let's take a moment to see this teaser. I didn't see the full teaser. I only saw the original voice actor saying something, and that's it. So let's sit down. Let's look at this real quick. Sorry, my bad.
Zeus! Your son has returned.
There we go.
Hey, what's happening? What's happening, fam? It is OGTC, the original God of War. How y'all doing today? I'm so glad you're hanging out, and I want you to know as we close out this last few months of the God of War's 20th anniversary, I'm thrilled to bring you some exciting news about the series today. Now look, we are happy and excited to finally confirm that the Greek trilogy remake is now in development. Yeah, man. I know. Sit down. Now, look, this project is still in the early stages. So it'll be a minute before we get back to share another update, right? But I'm telling you, next time we come back, we coming with something big, baby. Yeah. So, closing, I want to say thank you. Thank you all for your patience. You've been waiting. So thank you for your patience. But most of all, I want to thank you all for supporting this God of War franchise all these years. Appreciate you. Peace.
There we go. So basically we're getting God of War, a remake, not remastered, but like a whole remake. And I'm honestly happy to see games like this, and I also like to see games like this succeed whenever they do a remake, because that's another thing that companies like gaming companies are looking at. The more I would say the more remakes succeed sell wise, the more companies are open to say, hey, we are gonna put time and effort into games that from the past to bring them back, because at the end of the day it will sell well. So I am very happy to see that the God of War will get a remastered trilogy. I was kind of concerned at the beginning because I was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to do like a full trilogy, or are they going to do like one game? Because at the end of the day, it's 3 different games. They're going to do a remake with today's graphics. So it's going to take a minute, like he said, and it's more than likely going to be a few years before we see this game. I'm thinking maybe at earliest 2028, maybe end of 2028, early 2029. We'll see. We'll probably hear something. It's going to be a minute, like he said, but we're probably going to hear something. And whenever that happens, hopefully, if I'm still doing this, I will cover it. But yeah, it's like games like this I'm super excited for. I ended up playing God of War when he already, like, in the Norse mythology. So like those are the ones that I've played, God of War and Ragnarok. So I'm super excited to get to play this game, because I tried playing game the original God of War, but I couldn't handle the graphics. It looks too much old, and I'm just not used to it. And I was like, I'm not gonna play this. I'm not, gonna spend my time on this. I'm gonna wait and hopefully, because there had been rumors already about like, hey, they might do a remake, and I was like, I'll rather play the game at its full glory in today's standard than playing a version of it and then trying to play it again and be like, I don't want to play it again because I already know what happens. So um and then I was also concerned because I'm like, these are three really good best-selling games. All three God of Wars are so good, and they got a good reception. So I was wondering also where the price range would be. But I think it would probably stay at $70. If they were to ask $100, I don't see why people wouldn't buy it at that price. So that's just something to kind of like remember. And since this trailer came out, and this is the news of the week, pretty much this happened on Thursday. I'm doing a video Sunday to post it today, but like this is definitely a great thing. So I came with a list of games that I would love to see remastered. So these are some of the games that I would love to see remastered, and some of them, some of you would probably agree with me. Maybe you have your own thoughts. So whatever I don't mention here, I want you to go into the comment section and just tell me which one would you like to see. So for starters, Need for Speed Most Wanted. This is my favorite Need for Speed game. Need for Speed Most Wanted definitely deserves a remastered version. And I know there's like rumors on the internet about like, hey, they're gonna do it, but it's 2026. I'm not getting any younger, and they still haven't done it. Another one, Ultimate, like I mentioned before, Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. Both games deserve a remake, like a full remake, not just remaster it, just remake the game with today's graphic. I know that it's kind of iffy because like it's Raven. Also, Nintendo has the rights now for those games, so it's kind of in a I don't see it happening. I see Need for Speed happening more than I would see that game happening. But if it were to happen, I would be stoked about it. I wouldn't complain about it. But at least, come on, figure something out with the rights. Like, if you can't put these games into remakes, figure out what the hell is going on over there, and like with the rights and stuff, and just put these games back in the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store. Just do it so that people can actually download the game and enjoy it, because this is a really, really good game. And if we got to talk about Ultimate Alliance, we also have to talk about X-Men Legends. This game, I recently had to get an emulator and play it because I was like, I'm an X-Men fan. For those of you who don't know, I'm a really big X-Men fan. So I ended up playing the X-Men Legends with an emulator, and it's just chef kiss. It's still it looks amazing with the emulator, obviously. But like even if you were to put it, again, that's what I'm saying, even if you were to put it in the store and just make, the frames per second and all this stuff, just make it PlayStation and Xbox appropriate, the game is so good. It's so good. It's a dungeon crawl. For anybody who doesn't know what X-Men Legend is, just go and look it up. It's amazing. It's this, without X-Men Legends, you wouldn't have Ultimate Alliance at all. Like, it's crazy to think about it like that. But definitely I would love to see X-Men Legends getting both 1 and 2 getting a remake. Another game that I'm going to mention is Kingdom Hearts. And I'm talking about specifically number 1 because I think number 2 still holds up. But definitely number 1 needs a remake, or at least a remastered version where, like, when the characters are talking, you're not just seeing Donald Duck just like looking at you creepy without moving his mouth at all. So that is something that I've seen, and I played Kingdom Hearts actually when they released the remix, whatever it was. So it's like all the Kingdom Hearts together in one video game, not in one video, but like 2 different discs. And I played it. It's so good. Kingdom Hearts is so good. great game. I tried playing it in chronological order because I have a thing with chronological order where I want to play games in the way they're supposed to be meant to play. And I played the second one, which was kind of like turn-based, or like you had to have cards and stuff. And it was like, I'm not playing this game. It's not for me. And I ended up quitting. But man, number one was awesome. And I hated Ursula. That specifically of when you're trying to fight Ursula is insanely difficult. And I was like, I was grinding that until I finally got out of it. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts is awesome. And then lastly, another game that I would like to mention in this list is a PS1 Spider-Man game. You can get away with just doing the first one. I don't even care about the second one. The second one was okay, but it's, if you can do the first one specifically. Wow. Let me tell you that game. For those of you, let me show you real quick what this game is. Okay, so Spider-Man 1, PS1. This game right here. Look at that, dude. They're asking for $54 for this game. This is restored, by the way. You can get it in eBay for $22 without the case. Case over here, $27. So you're spending about $30, $40. Some of them go as high as, $74. But yeah, this game specifically, look at this thing. It looks amazing. Look at Venom smiling at you. Dude, I love this game. This is my first Spider-Man game, and it was just awesome. And I would love to see this game getting some sort of treatment. So, anyways, guys, I think those are the games that I would love to see remade at some point. If I were to pick just one, I would probably pick X-Men Legends. Again, I'm just an X-Men fan, so that might be biased. And if I didn't mention your game, don't be sad about it. Mention it in the comments below. And as always, hit the notification bar, subscribe, do whatever you have to do to keep in touch with this. If you don't follow me on social media, it's, again, Finding the Middle, and then you will just type SFB right after Finding the Middle, and it will just pop up in Instagram and in TikTok. So follow me there for more updates on videos and stuff like that. And again, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And also, if you would like to subscribe in Spotify, that would be awesome. So thank you, everybody, for joining me on this special episode. I will be coming with another episode on Wednesday for Comic Book Wednesday, and we'll talk about the comics that I got that day. And then back on Sunday, I'll post another episode. So that's kind of the schedule that I have right now for you guys. It would be Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday in terms of videos. Wednesday would be mainly comic books. Sunday, we'll have fun stuff to talk about. Sometimes it will be video games. Sometimes it will be books. Sometimes it would be just random stories. Sometimes I will have a guest here. I actually have talked to somebody already who I want to have in the podcast. We're just figuring out schedules and all that stuff, and when can we record to get it to you guys. So stick around. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be an amazing year for this channel and for you guys if you stick around. So that's it, guys. Thank you again for joining us, and have a good one, and see you guys in the next one, okay?